Imagine you've had a long morning. You made some toast, got crumbs everywhere, and the toaster finally decided to give up on life by refusing to pop. In most cases, you'd probably throw it out, maybe take it to recycling, maybe leave it in your garage for the next 15 years, just in case. But you're not most people. You live near a volcano. And today, you're asking the question that no appliance manufacturer has ever put in their safety manual. What if you dropped a toaster into a volcano? First, let's talk about volcanoes. A volcano is basically Earth's pressure valve. Deep inside, molten rock magma is under huge amounts of pressure. Sometimes that pressure finds a path to the surface, and we call that path a volcanic vent. When magma comes out, we call it lava. And lava is hot, really hot, like 1,300 to 2,200 degrees Fahrenheit, 700 to 1,200 Celsius. That's hot enough to melt aluminum, copper, and all the plastic parts in your toaster faster than you can say, don't try this at home. So what happens when your toaster meets lava? The moment it hits the surface, the plastic casing and rubber cord would ignite almost instantly. This wouldn't be a gentle melting, it would be more like your toaster screaming in chemical flames. The paint, the insulation, the little crumb tray, all of it gone in seconds. Then the metal parts would start heating up. Most toaster heating elements are made from nichrome, an alloy of nickel and chromium, which melts at around 2,550 degrees Fahrenheit, 1,400 degrees Celsius. That's slightly higher than the temperature of most lava, so they might not melt instantly. Instead, they'd glow bright orange, heat up rapidly, and eventually weaken enough to twist and collapse. The rest of the metal shell. Steel melts around 2,500 degrees Fahrenheit, 1,370 degrees Celsius. So again, close to lava's range. In a particularly hot volcano, you might see it start to sag like warm cheese before disintegrating into a glowing puddle. But here's where things get interesting. Lava is much denser than you think. It's basically liquid rock, which means your toaster isn't going to sink like it would in water. Instead, it might float for a few seconds on a layer of quickly solidifying rock formed as its cooler metal touches the molten surface. Then the lava underneath breaks that crust and swallows the toaster whole. From that point, it's gone. You're not getting it back. Unless you have a lava-proof fishing net, which you don't. Some might wonder if this would cause an explosion. If your toaster was plugged in, which would be impressive considering you're standing on the rim of an active volcano, the electrical connection wouldn't matter much. But what about the possibility of steam explosions? A real risk in volcanoes comes when water rapidly turns to steam. If your toaster contained water, say from a recent cleaning or a very bad soup experiment, the water would flash boil instantly. This could cause a small pop or bang, sending molten droplets flying. Nothing massive, but definitely enough to make you regret your science experiment. And speaking of experiments, let's talk about the environmental impact. Burning plastic and metals release toxic gases like dioxins and heavy metal fumes. If you thought lava already smelled bad, adding a toaster isn't doing anyone a favor. That smoke could be harmful to breathe, and volcanoes already pump out enough sulfur dioxide to make the air sting your lungs. There's also the scientific disappointment factor. You might think dropping something into lava would cause a giant Hollywood-style explosion, but in reality, it's anticlimactic. Objects just kind of sizzle, smoke, and vanish. In 2001, researchers in Hawaii tossed an aluminum can into a lava flow. It crumpled, caught fire, and disappeared in under a minute. Your toaster wouldn't even get a dramatic final moment. However, there is one cool thing, right? The molten lava and glowing toaster will produce a surreal color combination. Bright orange rock, sparks from burning wires, shimmering waves of heat. It would look like the world's most dangerous fondue pot. So, should you do it? Absolutely not. Volcanoes are unpredictable, unstable, and deadly. Getting close enough to drop in a toaster could mean standing in areas that might collapse under your feet or be swept by sudden waves of lava. Plus, even if you survive the drop, you'd be inhaling toxic fumes, possibly melting your shoes, and definitely explaining yourself to confused park rangers. In short, dropping a toaster into a volcano would end exactly as you expect, with the toaster destroyed, the volcano completely unimpressed, and you questioning your life choices. But the thought experiment is fun. It reminds us that nature's scale is far beyond our household gadgets. Our strongest metals melt like butter, our most reliable electronics turn to vapor, and our bravest toaster just becomes another rock in the flow. So next time your toaster breaks, skip the volcano. Recycle it. Or better yet, keep it as a reminder that even in a world of superheated molten rock, you can still make breakfast without risking your life.